Gonna be ready regardless because
We're live.
yes, we are live a little later than normal, but we are live with the Lonely Marks here on the Movie Hero Network. How you guys doing?
Good.
Just blank.
In general,
Yeah, just in general. Hi.
pretty good. Overheated.
Nervous. This is the last time you'll ever see me in this venue.
Venue, yeah, I like it. Is that you?
This arena,
Venue, house,
This-
arena, yeah.
In this
Coliseum.
This, yeah.
In
Last
this
time you
high
were
school
with
gym.
venue. Yeah.
In this circus tent.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done now.
Mhm.
But yeah, we are here. We're gonna talk some wrestling, talk some news, talk some 2000s. I can't wait to see the card that Richie put together, because obviously his roster was better than
the best.
the rest of ours. So I'm excited to see that. And then we spun the wheel and we landed on finally an ECW on Syfy show, something that I am familiar with. The ECW that I know. ECW on Syfy, yeah, the September 16th, 2008 edition. But we haven't been here for a couple weeks, so there's probably a lot that's come out recently. So does anybody have anything they're just like itching?
TNA, because everybody was clamoring to give us that again. Because
I know you're against it, Pez, and I'm in the middle because to me, a name's a name.
Yeah.
And I was fine with Impact. I feel like you've already established it, but I've seen a lot of people. I think it has spiked interest. I really do. And I think it's gotten people talking about it. A la this. Are we talking about Bound for Glory if it wasn't for this? So I think it's kind of worked, actually.
But the whole thing, that was a joke name from Vince Russo in the first place. That's why it's stupid to go back to it. That was a joke name that he didn't take seriously. TNA. Like, literally, it was a tits and ass joke that they put an N in there, like, and changed the wording. So, like, that's why it's like you were just starting to really, like, get people to kind of forget about that with the Impact Wrestling thing, having good matches, having good wrestlers, no bullshit. And now you're going to remind people of all the stupid shit you used to do? Like, yes, some glory days, but also some stupid shit you used to do? Like, I'm just saying.
You don't watch, though, Pez. They weren't doing anything. You weren't watching.
They were apparently having good – I've seen good matches come out of there. They're having, like, good wrestling. Like,
yeah, and that's why I'm in the middle because I'm like, I don't think nothing else is really changing. You know, still Scott D'Amore. They're not like vacating the titles. Whoever is the champion that day is the champion kind of thing. So that's why I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool, kind of whatever.
I will say it's kind of interesting that, like, I don't know, like, I think that initially I thought they shed the TNA name because, like, TNA was considered, like, by a lot of, like, networks when they tried to get a TV deal as a damaged name because they almost went out of business.
Right, because it's a joke, stupid name.
Because they almost went out of business because of Dixie Cut. So, yeah, I don't know. I think before COVID, you know how they were going to do that. They were going to do this TNA reunion thing.
There's no place like home, yeah.
Yeah, and apparently that was going to spur on like TNA was going to be its own sort of like a brand thing, and then Impact was going to be its own thing. But so yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of with I can see where Pez coming from, but I'm kind of on the side of I think it's going to be a name. I don't really like if I'm creating a wrestling company, I think the TNA name is stupid. But honestly, I sort of revert to calling it TNA anyway, even though it isn't. It has been Impact Wrestling for a while. I do kind of just say TNA.
It was ingrained into us for a while, so yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, I mean they won't have the 6-sided ring, which because everybody has said like, look, I know we can go back to TNA, but like that 6-sided ring, that's a bitch to take bumps on. So fuck that. I'm not doing the 6-sided ring, but yeah, look, I don't know. It gets their name in the thing, and I mean we could talk about it, but they're trying to. Court CM Punk they're gonna have to back the truck up with money, but
TNA alumni CM Punk.
Yeah, but
according to CM Punk, and they're trying hard. It seems like to get maybe Ospreay as well, because even Ospreay has joked about how he grew up a TNA fan, and he even said like, I'd love to be in a TNA ring. And Scott D'Amore's like, I can make that happen now.
I think Will Ospreay's just
Wasn't he just in the TNA ring?
Will
No, he was in the
Ospreay
Impact ring.
I think Will Ospreay's doing the kind of the flirting with the kind of free agency. With
Oh, yeah.
he's like
He's
he's
just
been
having
doing
fun
the
right now.
he's been doing interviews where he's like, you know what, I was shitting, I was critical of him before, but I'm kind of open to WWE. I wouldn't mind wrestling Seth Rollins. So I think he's sort of just doing that at the moment. But you never know.
Survivor Series is in
AKA
Chicago.
push up your dollar amount because
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's we'll see what happens, but I maybe they get at the very least at first they'll probably just get a new theme song. That's about it. Which is whatever. It won't mean much.
and they are doing new titles, just not new lineages. They're going to revamp the titles as far as design wise.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and then yeah. So I don't know. There's kind of some interesting faces that showed up in Mouth Glory. I don't know if they were just a one-off thing, but
I mean, it looks like Sunny Kiss will probably stick around for a minute. I think it was just a surprise.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I'm intrigued, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm neither here nor there with it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like I've never really liked the name TNA, so yeah.
I've never minded it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's catchy. It does stick in your head. You know what I mean? TNA, baby, total non-stop action.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It is a bit of a product of its time though, because let's not forget TNA also had caged women dancers. So I don't know.
But it's part
bringing those back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's product of its time in the sense that it's not. It wasn't the first time they used that TNA's been in wrestling. Before TNA was a thing in wrestling, it was a tag team with Test and Albert, and that was supposed to be that was supposed to be the joke. Tits and ass. So then Vince Russo was like, "Oh, that's funny. I'll steal that for a wrestling thing for the promotion." But yeah, I don't know. I do like it. It's unique because it doesn't include wrestling, but I don't know. Just it's a very early 2000s joke. I'll put it that way. Yeah, like he had a faction called Sports Entertainment Extreme. Sex.
Yes. Ha funny.
We're also forgetting about the Johnsons, guys. Come on.
The Johnsons. Yeah.
They look like two white dicks. And speaking of white dicks, Billy Corgan says NWA has a TV deal coming up soon. Based on the popularity of Wild Women of Wrestling, which evidently pulls in pretty decent numbers, even though I don't watch it much. Just because I think it's very 80s glow where everyone's like, everyone's a character in WoW. So I didn't stick around too much. But the numbers are good. So NWA was able to get a TV deal, so they'll be on a lot of stations next year. Supposedly, kind of like what AEW did a few months back. Looks like they also have two shows. One of it being a backstage type show, and then one just being your normal power that we've seen on YouTube and Fight and whatnot. So I'm down for that. Again, anytime. That's why, I'm not against the TNA name just because I guess it's getting people talking. Same thing with NWA. I'm glad for there to be more homes for people to apply their craft and makes it more viable. Hopefully, adds more money into their pockets as well.
Yeah. Do AEW still do that backstage thing, or that is gone?
I don't know if they ever announced if it was picked up or not. I mean, they only did 6, 7, 8 episodes tops, and I haven't heard much from it. You can watch it on HBO Max. Last time I checked, too, it was actually on Max. But it was short lived, just like the Cody and Brandy one was short lived.
Yeah, the 12 people that watched it live were like, "Nah, it's okay."
I just love my quick review of the first episode is always like, no holds barred. We're not holding anything back. First episode, Young Bucks are like, we don't want to talk about the CM Punk thing. And I'm like, oh, so you're holding a lot of shit back. It's just whatever you want us to know. That's literally the opposite of your fucking promos for this show.
Yeah. But yeah, the AEW thing, I don't know. You go this.
No, I was gonna say, speaking of big white dicks in AEW, Ric Flair showed up on Dynamite.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. Or from trivia, Klug Gulager from Feast 3.
And apparently he wants to stick around till Revolution.
Yeah, what does
What
that
if-
mean, man?
Let go, yeah.
They're not putting him in the
I
ring,
hope it doesn't mean
please.
they're going to wrestle each other. Fuck that.
Oh God!
I-
Someone
I
already
don't like,
said
is he
that.
He
doing
better not be
corner?
wrestling in that 3-on-3 match we're talking about. I don't want to
Oh,
see
that's
Ric Flair
gotta be
stumbling around.
that's gotta be Edge. That's gotta be the third partner.
It's got to be right. Yeah, it
Gotta
has
be
to be.
Edge.
No, please don't be Ric Flair. Yeah.
Okay, here's the. I'll predict this. They beat the shit out of Ric Flair. That makes Edge go, okay, fine, fuck you, kind of thing.
So like the thing they did with the Jay Lethal match or whatever.
More or less.
Yeah, the exact same angle. They beat the shit out of him in the parking lot and then set up the match.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you can stage it to where like he's not really bumping, just be like, all right, cut.
Yeah.
I lay down on the pavement. All right, thank you. And scene.
Now bleed. You still remember how to do that, right?
Yeah, I think Rich just has to like think hard and he fucking pops him, you know what I mean?
And this one right here.
Okay. I used to joke I had a Ric Flair t-shirt and if he did this it would bleed.
Got a blood packet right there.
Fuck.
One other quick thing I wanted to mention. They've announced more stuff and have been discussing more things for more international dates. WWE for next year, possibly doing premium live events internationally. And yeah.
I was just going to say they've announced one.
Well, yeah, no, I'm just kidding. So, in addition to the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia, them going down under for that one. I know they announced Berlin, Bash in Berlin for August of next year. Yeah, so that's cool. And also, from what I've read, Paris, France is being discussed for Backlash as well. So we might get quite the plethora of international events, which I'm all for because those events they all did last year and the year before have been really hot crowds and really have helped to kind of boost it and make them something special, other than just like another show. So I've enjoyed watching them kind of travel the world for these smaller, pay-per-views and whatnot. I think it helps.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as it being, sorry.
No, you go. I talk a lot. You go.
You talk too much. Well, boy, you never shut up. Sorry, Botchmania. No, I was just gonna say, yeah. I mean, I know it doesn't matter too much to me, but it does matter when they're hot crowds. Like Backlash, there was definitely a really fun crowd. Clash of the Castle was a fun crowd. So, I mean, when you make it a special treat for these people, even AEW and Wembley, when you make it a special treat, those crowds come alive. So, I'm down for that aspect, and good for them if they're able to they're marketed that wide.
Yeah, I guess if you're aware, because it's just the market's there. I don't know why they haven't taken advantage of it before, till now. They'll do it now and again, that random Raw they had in Italy where Santino debuted. But they'll do it.
They had a Raw in Tokyo one time, randomly, which they never did again. But it was a really cool, unique episode because the crowd was a Japanese crowd. That was fun. They did that one Raw where John Cena and Shawn Michaels had a 60-minute match, in Britain. That was cool. There's always these cool, unique crowds, and I think it just comes out to a cost or why they didn't do it more often. Is just the money. It's a lot to fly everybody over there and all the production and all the stuff, but
it's a pricey show,
But if you can make them in these bigger venues internationally where the gate can make up for it, and the merchandise and whatnot that you'll sell and all the kind of stuff, the little factors, and how many people will watch the show, I think it certainly makes up for that difference.
I also think they've got a lot more money these days. So.
Well, yeah, and they're getting money from a lot of these places. I mean, we talked about the Saudi stuff where they're getting so much money from to run those Saudi shows in the first place. So that one's worth it because they get
that's almost a soul.
Well, and everybody that works it gets an extra payday. They all get an extra paid bonus to do that. We talked about how some of those guys may have gotten $1 million. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, some of those guys.
I don't remember. I'm bad with remembering dollar amounts, but I remember Jericho's joking about how much he made technically per second because the greatest Royal Rumble that he's like, I'm in that thing for less than 4 minutes, and I made I made blah 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 per second. It's like, oh my god,
it's like the people who are in movies and make mega paydays for 2-minute roles or whatever, and they're per second they're getting paid thousands of dollars per second. Screen time. Yeah, no, it's
joking about Scary Movie 2 with Marlon Brando. Supposedly they had originally were going to pay him $5 million or something.
For one scene.
Opening scene,
yeah. So I mean, it's interesting as far as that goes. But I'm all for them. I mean, will they run a WrestleMania internationally? I don't know. Who knows? I know they're trying to.
They've been teasing it. They keep
teasing it.
That's another. That's another factor I'm not sure about because now you got to go in with will it draw as I don't know if it will draw as well as a US one though. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because if will you get as many people traveling for that? Because
Right.
people in the United States will bounce around the United States to go to WrestleMania, like
Yeah,
within the
no
country.
problem.
But and
Right.
some people will come overseas, fly to the United States, and go wherever, depending on where it is. Yeah, people from the United States flying over to like the UK,
That's a smaller
that's very pricey.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount of people. How many? Like, and I've talked about. I know it's not as big of a thing, and it's not something WWE has to worry about. But when you have those in the United States, I've talked about how every other promotion in the United States will try to go to that city and run a thing run a show while the fans are in town. You know what I mean? While there's wrestling, thousands and thousands of wrestling fans, run a show. You're going to draw some people. Anything as long as you get a name. Anybody, you run a show. So, and I know that's not their concern if they run in Britain or whatever. Obviously the British, all the European promotions would try to run, of course. But yeah, like still that's a part of it. But I don't know. Like, I guess if they did do it, obviously London would be probably the number one choice just because of how kind of central it is.
You'd have to try like a London or Canada or like somewhere not in a weird way, not too foreign.
Well, you can't go.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I'm just like you said, to get a bunch of Americans that are willing to travel. I think
you could do Canada, Toronto, or Vancouver, and I think you could draw some American people there because it's not that far.
Well, they've done Canada before. WrestleMania 18.
Yeah,
again, that was also when they were also willing to run Madison Square Garden. This is before they were like, let's maximize the dollar amount.
Right,
and we're running stadium. That's what they'll never go back to.
Giant 100,000 people stadiums.
They were
or
willing to
80,000
take
people
the chance
stadiums.
on Canada back then because they're like, all right, as long as we draw this amount, we're cool. But now it's like they want these football arenas and these huge arenas because that's how they make a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah,
that's why they'll never do Madison Square Garden again because at first they were.
It's only 12,000 people at Madison Square Garden. Yeah,
20, and people were like, oh, maybe you'll do 30. And I remember someone joking, like, no, there's no way we're gonna do it anymore because
can't go from 100,000 to 10,000. Yeah, you can't
money,
do that. Yeah.
I had someone try to say like, oh, but that'd be cool, so cool for nostalgia reasons. I'm like, buddy, like it's a money business.
They're not doing it for that. That's why when they run the New York area for WrestleMania, they go to the Giants Stadium, like the actual football stadium in Jersey.
Well, you're lucky they even do a B pay-per-view there anymore,
Yeah, I mean I think what was the last one they did? Like a televised house show or something? Like one of those
they
premium
did a
events.
live house live PL
at MSG or whatever. Yeah, it was like a televised
they
house
still
show.
Might do and they're not doing like a Survivor Series anymore. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they've kind of outgrown it to where it's like, listen, man, as much as we love hard and nostalgia, like you're not going to lose literally millions of dollars almost.
No, that's a cash cow. It's become a major yearly event. For money. It's a brand. I mean, So if they did do it, they would definitely run somewhere like a Wembley that can hold that many people, or some other big soccer or football stadium, whatever. You just kind of have to.
It's kind of on topic, but kind of not. But I do find it funny. I think we talked about it before that you guys have a stadium there, the stadium there called the Crypto.com Arena or whatever.
Yeah,
and crypto is kind of dead. That's kind of
well, that's the thing about the names of stadiums over here is they're always sponsored by some company, but they change names a lot. The place where the Jaguars play in Jacksonville has changed names like 5 times, just depending on which bank or whatever is like sponsoring them. The ones in LA changed it based on whatever website or whatever company is. Has the money to do that. It's all a branding thing. So I mean, they change their names depending on who's sponsoring the stadium. I mean, it's the same thing as anything else. You're usually not, or if it is, named after a person or something, it can last more than like one that just bounces from name to name. It's really weird. Well, I mean, the Seattle one they just did, the AEW did, is called the Climate Pledge Arena. That's not even like a thing. That's just like a name. It's weird. Is that a company? I don't think so. It's a concept.
That's a concept. Yeah, weird.
So stadiums could have weird names over here. I mean, the one in Jacksonville right now is called TD Bank Field because TD Bank is a bank, and they do a thing about lock down the bank. And I don't think the Staples Center in Los Angeles is the Staples Center anymore. I think it's something else because Staples isn't even really around anymore. So that's what it used to be. It just kind of depends.
Yep. But it is weird. Like in Australia, we have that too. But like we have stadiums that you'd think that would be like in America, like because in Melbourne where I saw there's a Marvel Stadium. Yeah, basically like
what? What?
Marvel. It's called Marvel Stadium.
Oh, Marvel Stadium. Okay. Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Just Marvel in general.
It's called Marvel Stadium, and then but it's just it hosts just sports stuff and hosts or whatever. But yeah, it's called Marvel Stadium because I guess like Australian government has like a deal with because a lot of the Marvel films get filmed over here. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, and then they go like the big like arena like near sort of me is called like KO Stadium, which is like KO is like a sports like streaming site here, so they're all kind of branded.
Yeah, that's random.
Corporatize it, so yeah, it's weird. But yeah, I just found it interesting.
No. I did want to bring up one other thing. We officially Logan Paul is back, stepping into the ring again. He's going to get that crown jewel paycheck. Speaking of crown jewel, he's going to go over there and probably get paid $1 million. But yeah, Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio officially.
I also think he's winning.
He might be. So I thought it was going to be a tag match based on the promos they were doing with him and Dom. Possibly a tag match against Ray and like Santos or whatever. But I guess it's just going to be a one-on-one. But again, I think it's smart to put him in there with a veteran that I think can kind of structure the match, and work around it, make him look good. Again, we've seen him do the lucha stuff with Ricochet, so we know he can do that aspect of it. And with a guy that, will probably use the spots not as haphazardly as Ricochet, as we saw with those Spanish fly spots and everything they tried to do, which got a little wonky. I think Ray can kind of structure the match where he can make, they can do a few crazy things here and there, but maybe a little more like contained. But yeah, what do you guys think? I think it should be a solid match.
I think it'll be good.
It's okay. I got you, Barbara. Don't worry. We've just been talking.
All right, duty calls. But when the boss calls, you got to answer.
We were talking about stadium names and weird stadium names based on like crypto websites and shit like that. Climate Pledge Arena, like you have in Seattle, just based on a concept, not even like a company. That's weird.
Right.
But anyways, now I just wanted to bring up one last that Logan Paul was back, my favorite wrestler, fighting Rey Mysterio at Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll bring up one more thing before we go into whatever.
Cards, and the cards probably,
maybe a quick thing. They've worked together before because of the tag match at WrestleMania with them. So at least they got that rapport, and I think they can have a good match. I think it makes sense. I don't know. Be interesting to see how like Saudi reacts to him, because like Saudi really the last time he did Saudi, he was babyface and he was making her over. Be interesting. And then he's just coming off that like weird whatever that was with Dylan Dennis. So I don't know that fight or whatever it was.
The debate thing or whatever it was. Yeah,
it was supposed to be a fight, and then it was like the
you're talking about the boxing. Yeah, those boxing. That was so rigged. Whatever. I don't care. Yeah, that's so stupid. It was not even a fight. It's just a spectacle. It's bad. Yeah, whatever.
It was bad, but I know it's fun. But I think that'll be a good match, and I think there's a possibility that Logan Paul wins it. I think it. I think it'd be a good sort of PR move. I can see him winning it. I don't think Ray. I was confused as to why Ray won the title in the first place. I don't think Ray needs a title.
Because the young up and comer needs the title victory
to put himself over.
To take away opportunity from Santos Escobar. what a dick. I think he wins. So I think it'll be a good solid match.
I think it's a United States title match. Yeah, putting the title on Logan Paul would help him and he can flaunt around with a belt. I talked about with him possibly winning the other one that he had, but I think that's a perfect title he could haul around on shows and stuff too, and like it wouldn't be as
Just every week on his podcast.
but it also is not as high level as the Intercontinental belt is right now. Nothing like that. It's not the world title. I think it's kind of the perfect title for him to tout around and kind of flaunt everywhere. To where it hasn't been that much of a big deal, anyways. With Austin Theory and whatnot, like it just hasn't. Like I'm just stating facts. It just isn't. So it isn't as high level as Gunther and what he's doing with that. So I don't think it would hurt it for him to kind of pop in and out with that title. You know what I mean? He could be the guy that does. He'll still defend it more than Roman Reigns, I'm sure. Defends his title.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if you can remember that far back, but you had Bret Hart win the US title when he couldn't medically wrestle. Remember he beat
in WCW,
no, he beat Miz. I think it was in back
in 2010.
Oh, that's right. And then when he returned, oh my God, yeah. Oh Jesus Christ.
So they've done worse.
Oh God, yeah. So why not? Yeah, why not?
Who's going to draft Bret Hart when we do the 2010 draft?
Technically, I could have drafted him for 2000. He had 2 matches in 2000 before he quit for concussions. So I could have. He was still having heart, which nobody ever talks about, by the way. After he supposedly gets a concussion and still blames Goldberg, he gets in the ring with Terry Funk. He's still wrestling with Terry Funk and getting hit in the head with trash cans and chairs. But nobody ever talks about that contributing to anything. But Bret Hart, especially you, Bret Hart, blaming Goldberg when you were in the ring for several more weeks after that. Head. So I don't think it was all Goldberg's fault, brother. Like you probably should have stopped right after that if it was. So, anyways.
So I was away. Did we bring up the fact that even though MJF is defending the title at Full Gear and is in apparently an 8-man tag to just get his title back, he's
having a title match against Kenny Omega. Yeah, what is that all about? I don't know.
That whole thing was so there was just so much to it. Like there was the match with Juice, which decent match. Then there was the aftermath where the Kingdom and Roderick Strong couldn't take down the Guns for whatever reason, so the Acclaim comes out, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to challenge you, the 8-man, and if I win, give me back my belt. That's mine and not yours. And then, hey, I'm Kenny Omega, and I want to challenge you to a fight for the belt that you don't actually have, but you technically have. Like, there's just so much. And, like, the YouTube clip, usually, for the bigger things, they'll do, like, a 10-minute. This one was 17 minutes long. It's a YouTube clip, and it's 17 minutes long. The RVD one was 420.
Yeah, I don't mind multiple people. I think it's cool that multiple people are gunning for the title, because you should be a marked man or whatever. But don't sort of muddy the waters when you've got he's got Jay White to look ahead to. If you want to move on to Kenny Omega, do that after he's gone past Jay White.
And is it only because his reign is so close to Kenny Omega's that it's like Kenny was like, I don't want to give up the longest reign?
Real quick, I think Logan Paul's going to win the U.S. title. No one asked me.
Well, we were saving that for next week.
Oh yeah.
No, we weren't. Everyone talked about it already.
I didn't talk about it.
Yeah, I stopped because I figured you guys wanted to talk about it. I let y'all try it, and nobody said anything.
Oh yeah. No.
I also wanted to let you nap, JPO.
Fuck you.
But it's confusing. But yeah, it's like because you've also got Wardlow there, wanting to. I guess he's a heel now, kind of wanting to make and I guess he's just kind of playing with the dog while I'm talking. But just wanting to vie for it, and that makes sense. But yeah, just you got to space them out a bit. It just kind of gets confusing. I know. I want to. It also just telegraphs it. I'm like, okay, MJF. I mean, I guess you could do a surprising thing, but I don't. Now, if you did a pay per view where it was Kenny Omega versus MJF, that might be a bit. Well, it might be harder to. That'd be a bit harder to predict. But now because it's on TV, I'm like, oh, okay, MJF's winning. Or there'll be a no contest thing or something. I don't know.
Well, also Kenny Omega, you get a title match after losing your last 4 pay-per-view matches.
Yeah.
Booker of the Year, Tony Khan. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just Kenny abusing.
When's it losses matter in AEW, or do they?
Yeah. What do you think, JP?
They're not doing the rankings and stuff now. Just quietly stopped. Yeah.
So we ask, and he doesn't.
Did you give me the Orange Cassidy thumbs up? I was genuinely. What do you the Kenny Omega MJF title thing? What are your thoughts on it? I mean, especially like he's in this thing with JY, and then all of a sudden Kenny's just like, "Hey, you've got something I want," and MJF's like, "Okay, fine."
Yeah, it's weird that they're shoehorning in another world title match right before we have one that's been built up to. So yeah, that's a bit weird. Kind of makes you wonder if maybe they're gonna jump to Omega versus White. Pets is definitely right too in the fact that like they've even set up the fact that like on commentary and everything, they've all set up the fact that Omega hasn't won much recently. So like, yeah, why does he get a world title shot? And you're in the middle of something too. Yeah, so yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm looking forward to the match, but yeah, as far as the timing of it and everything, it's a bit off-putting. That's kind of why I'm wondering if they're gonna pull some shenanigans. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, like have the match with like, and hey, and if I beat you,
then they get a title shot.
Full gear, or
a title.
Put me in the match or something. Yeah.
Another interesting AEW note is they did announce they are indeed having a December pay-per-view, so it's looking like we're getting pretty much once a month now.
It's called The World's End.
Yeah.
It's just World's End, because The World's End is a movie. Probably copyrighted.
It's World's End,
yeah. You can't do the full one because that's already a thing. Yeah, just AEW World's End.
Yeah.
World's End. WWE is doing a premium live event in Berlin. They're calling it Bash It.
Yeah, we talked about all that.
Yeah, so where do we think that crowd's going to be? Is it going to be like a Puerto Rico crowd? Is it going to be like a Saudi crowd?
I think all those international shows we talked about, will be good. Every one of them has been good so far.
It's just Saudi doesn't care because they get for free.
Yeah. Well, didn't the last Saudi show they did, the crowd was pretty good though, right?
Yeah, they were decent.
The one with was it the tag match?
Yeah, they didn't disappoint me during Seth Rollins' entrance. I will say that much because
it depends on how they're feeling that night. If they feel like watching wrestling or not, I guess But I think the Germany crowd will be good. Like the wrestling fans there are good. They should do it like they do those WXW shows and have them right on top of the ring, slamming the ring. How they do those little shows. But yeah, I mean the if they do Paris and Backlash, that'll be good. They did a Raw in Paris one time and the crowd was good. And then the other one in Australia should be a hot crowd too. I mean, I think they'll all be hot crowds. Like I'm down.
I'm guessing Gunther will be. You had to put Gunther in the main event.
Gunther will be in that Berlin thing. He has to be in the main event because
100% heavyweight champion by then.
Yeah. But the only other thing I was going to bring up quickly.
Live Resistance returning for the Paris Backlash. One night only. Rob Cobb, just look at me.
I know he's Canadian technically, but I want to see just a cameo from the Mountie. I want to see them. I want to see the
Mountie. Yeah, he should. He can come out and sing his. He can come out to the ring and sing a song. Come on. I'm the Mountie. Proud and brave. I'm the Mountie. Oh, that'd be great. I'm down.
No, the only other thing I was quickly going to bring up and then we'll move on is like, what did you think? Did you watch NXT, the debut of Lexus King, aka Brian Pillman Jr.? It was an interesting.
What's his name again?
His
Lexus King.
He's going by Lexus King by his own. I think.
Why can't he just be Brian Pillman Jr.?
Well, because I thought the same thing, and then I looked into it a little bit more. When he first started out, apparently he was it Alex King, I think, or something King, in honor of like his, I think it was his stepfather and like his sister or something like that.
Yeah, there's two people who passed.
So two people that were really close to him that passed, so it was like to honor them, and then I guess WWE is just like, hey, cool.
Yeah, but I think that there's a combination of like he wanted to use a name, but also because they couldn't use the Brian Pillman. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, but so it's not just like them being like, "Hey, we don't want you to be known as Brian Pillman Jr." It's like there's actually a reason behind the name.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. But his presentation looks right. I think he'll fit there more than he did AEW. The AEW kind of just like didn't really do much with him at all. But yeah, I think he'll be all right. Yeah, Jade Cargill showed up there in NXT as well. I don't suspect that she'll be in NXT very long, if at all. I think she'll be called up quite quickly. It's pretty obvious they're setting up something with her and Charlotte down the road. It wouldn't surprise me if there's a WrestleMania match for next year.
Don't worry, they'll put her in the ring with Natalia first, like they do everybody else.
They do everything. Yeah,
yeah, just squash her on pay-per-view.
Natalia's a great worker, a reliable worker, but not. We don't respect her enough to have a long program.
Right. That'll be her first pay-per-view match against Natalia. That's my prediction. That's my prediction for tonight.
Just like for a while, everyone's first pay-per-view match, the guys was
Dolph
Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, of course, yeah. The guy who will bump his ass off and make you look good. Why not? JPL, what do you think of all this?
It's weird. It's weird. It's a little wacky. Overall, I'm down for it. Only they do it on like a Tuesday, though. I think I'll be ready.
All right, cool.
Sweet.
Sorry, what were we talking about?
We were talking about if so this match card you came up with for your roster. No, exactly. What day of the week would it fall on? And you said Tuesday, so perfect.
Yeah, here's your Tuesday in Texas card.
So is this like a Tuesday in Texas thing? Is this like a Taboo Tuesday, or is it a really good episode of NXT? I'm very curious.
Tuesday in Texas.
Okay, so like a 7 out of 10.
Hey, that was Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker. That was a big match.
Yeah. Was that the one he won, or was that the one he lost?
That was the one Undertaker won, I think. I think Taker won that match because it wasn't it wasn't like a major pay-per-view, so they let him win. Yeah.
Right, and then he lost it like a week later.
Yeah, something like that.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously Richie's gonna go last with his card.
Oh, of course.
It's the best.
We have to build up to it.
Yeah. So, would anyone like to volunteer to give theirs first?
I'll go first. Why
All
not?
right.
Yeah. So should I just go the card, or should I remind everybody who I drafted first and then run down the card?
Card.
Yeah,
okay, just the card. Okay, cool. All right, so no, I got mostly first time matches from what I could tell. I do have one familiar match just because it would be a hot one to start with, and then one match that did happen with an asterisk. I'll tell you when I get there. Actually, well, another one that happened a couple of times, but a little lesser known. But for the most part, 7 out of 10 from what I could tell from my research are going to be first time matchups, first time ever. So I tried to do that while still being good. So 10 matches, I would open with a familiar match, but maybe not for those who didn't watch ECW. But I'll have FBI versus the Unholy Alliance of Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck. So yeah, these guys have had matches on TNN and whatnot, a couple pay-per-views, but they always put out a hell of a performance and a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll have those guys just kick things off just for something familiar. My second match, going along with the undercard, a match that from what I could tell never happened, but I think would be pretty cool with both guys in their prime. Fit Finlay versus Rhino. I think could have a fun, mean, scary guy match, kind of a mid-card match. Two kind of shorter, bulkier, beat the shit out of each other kind of guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
They'd stiff each other for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be good. So I figure I pair those two mean guys up against them. It couldn't be worse than the Finlay match we saw on the ECW card that we got. I'll say that. We'll get to there. But anyways, my third match, a match that from what I can tell, one-on-one only happened once on Sunday Night Heat and didn't even happen in ECW. So I let these guys have an ECW type match, Raven and Spike Dudley, which never actually happened in ECW, and happened on Sunday Night Heat, which I watched in like 2002 when Raven was doing his schoolboy gear, if you remember, his like kilt schoolboy gear with the short hair. If I remember that era of Raven with the blonde hair.
Yeah.
So, and when Spike was kind of like half with Bubba Ray Dudley and half not, like just kind of floundering around. So that's what I could tell. One-on-one, that's the only time they did have a 3-way Monsters Ball match with Abyss and TNA in like 05 or 06 or something like that. So they kind of met in that match. But one-on-one ECW style, I think they have a lot of fun. Number 4, a match that did happen, but not with this iteration that I drafted. Super Crazy versus Shane Helms. to get some high flying. Super Crazy did work Gregory Helm several times when they were on the SmackDown roster together in like 2006, a couple of times. But I think, Sugar Shane and Super Crazy, both in 2000, could have a lot of fun. A match that definitely didn't happen, but I think would be really interesting. Triple H versus Bam Bam Bigelow. I think would be a really fun match. Triple H always had good matches against big guys. He knew how to work them, how to sell for them. Really solid worker. And both those guys in their prime, I think, could have a really fun, brawl with some technical aspects to it. Number 6, a match that again never happened. The closest thing that happened was a backstage confrontation that I found. But Mike Awesome versus Kurt Angle is maybe my 6th match. And I think
Kurt Angle, awesome bomb. He ain't gonna take with his neck.
He ain't taking the awesome bomb, but like Kurt Angle will probably go over. But Mike Awesome could be suplexing him all over the place, kind of like Brock Lesnar. Could do some dives. I think it could be an interesting sort of styles. I think both the guys again in their prime could have a really, really fun match that never happened. It almost happened during the Invasion era, but just never happened with short hair Mike Awesome. We never got it. Match number 7, again, another match that definitely didn't happen. Undertaker versus Masato Tanaka, I think could have a really interesting match. Yeah, because Masato's got the shorter stuff, but he's really intense, and he could probably bring out the best in Taker. Because Taker would work his ass off when he's in some there with like a Kurt Angle or somebody, or Benoit or anything like that. So, that's match number 7. Match number 8, match that obviously definitely didn't happen because it would be a cross-promotional match. TNA, Test and Albert versus the Natural Born Thrillers of Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare. I think could be really good. A couple big guys in there, but big guys that can move. And I think they would have a really fun tag team match. My semi-main event would be Kento Kobashi versus Chris Benoit. If you could just imagine the chop battles in this one, holy shit, would they beat the hell out of each other and really wrestle their asses off and suplex each other. And I think it'd be a ton of fun. And finally, the match that never happened, that almost happened, the dream match that fans always wanted, especially in the middle of the Attitude Era, that never happened, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Goldberg. So whether or not it'd be a great match, I don't know, but it would be the spectacle you needed for the main event, which is fine because I have Benoit and Kenta Kobashi in the semi-main for the work rate for the 5-star match. So even if this one is just strictly personality, character versus character, and just a match that we never got, that fans always, the battle of the two mean bald guys from the Attitude Era that we never got. So the closest we ever got was when Stone Cold stunned Goldberg post WrestleMania match. That's the closest thing we ever got to it, reffing that match with him and Brock. So closest we ever got, but it could be a spectacle. It'd be a lot of fun. So there you go. That's it.
Nice. I like it. There's a couple matches those like, oh damn, I wish we had.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And props to you for not doing Mike Awesome and that.
No. I wanted to do something fresh. That's the thing. But I think Awesome and Kurt Angle could be interesting. Undertaker Tanaka could be interesting. Or any combination of those two. Even Mike Awesome versus the Undertaker in his prime could be interesting. I could have flip flopped this around.
4 of them in the ring.
Oh, I'll just put all those guys in a big 6-way. Him and Benoit and Kobashi too, just a big 6-way scramble or something. Yeah. There you go. So, all right.
JP, would you like to go next, or would you like me to go next?
I can go next if you'd like. I'll follow.
Go ahead.
All right. So again, I normally go for first time matches here. So I thought this would be fun. Maybe some tables involved, chair shenanigans. Great Muta and Sabu. I don't think we ever saw that.
Not that I can remember.
That sounds pretty dope. Next, I think you kind of have a nice fight here too between Kevin Nash and Hardcore Holly. That might have happened on like a Superstars before back in the day, but this is more like later on, like Hardcore Holly actually fighting back.
Back
Kevin Nash can powerbomb him on his head like Brock Lesnar did. That'd be fun.
I'm not trying to kill the guy. This one's kind of random, but two guys I'm a big fan of that they could tell a fun story. DDP versus Tommy Dreamer. I think you'd have some fun promos leading up to that match. Again, two guys that they could have had a banger in different areas. Kid Cash and Dean Malenko, I think, could have had a really good match here. Followed up by again two good storytellers here that a mesh of styles, but I think those styles would work really well together. Steve Corino versus William Regal, I got on my dock, and then we're gonna have a little bit of a suplex party here as Scott Steiner fights Taz. I think those two would kind of like the primes would have had a real fun one here. trying to think of maybe never in Ring of Honor. Eddie Guerrero versus Jerry Lynn, I got on my docket as well. Again, Prime Eddie, Prime Jerry. These two could have had a real banger.
Yeah, you'd have to like search the indie scene in 2002 to see if they clashed somewhere.
Yeah, I'm like IWA Mid South somewhere.
Yeah, because they had like he inserted himself into a couple of weird matches in 2002, and in IWA and Ring of Honor, things like that when he was making his comeback. Yeah. I don't think they did either, because that thought crossed my mind when you drafted them, and I think I looked it up that the night, but they did.
There's two WWF house shows, evidently. A SmackDown with Revolution against the Hardys and Eddie. Eddie defeated Mr. JL on a WCW Pro TV show. World War III. Oh, they actually fought in a Nitro, a straight up Nitro.
Okay.
Mr. JL though, and they teamed actually on a Nitro as well. So
okay.
But yeah, no normal like 2001, 2, 3, 4 Eddie versus Lynn. 2000
Jerry Lynn versus 2000 Eddie Guerrero would be really good.
Yeah,
no, definitely
dope as all hell.
Mm-hmm.
Tag team action here. Rey Mysterio and Billy Kidman taking on Taka Michinoku and Funaki. Again, if you look at when Funaki and Taka actually worked, they can really work. They just became a comedy act. But I think those four would have a hell of a match. And it's been some great tag team action here. Again, this might have happened maybe like during. Oh no, I think we talked about this. The Hardy Boys against Lance Storm are just incredible on another match that never really happened, at least till its full extension. And then in my main event, I think these two could put on a real great match here. Rob Van Dam and Cactus Jack, I think could pull together some real fun stuff. So that's my 2000 card for you.
Yeah.
Very nice. And then
Barbara, you're next.
Yeah. Here's the cool down.
Oh, okay.
Cool down card before the fire.
Yours is a cool down. All right.
That is going to be Richie's.
I'll freeze it over.
So I only have 8 matches.
I did too.
So we're gonna kick it off with some hardcore action. I don't know how this would go in the year 2000, but we're gonna go with Terry Funk versus Kane.
Okay.
So some
they might have actually had like a match in '98. I think they did on like Raw, a random.
I wouldn't be surprised
because I remember. I think because I listened to a lot of classic Brian and Vinny when I was driving back and forth from here to Florida, back and forth on my thing. Those compilations. I think they had a random match on like a '98 Raw. I think
Kane and Chainsaw Charlie.
because they think it was like the weirdest match when they came out and had a match with each other. It was very strange. I think they might have actually squared off.
So, according to Terry Funk, now we've got a Rumble, a dark match, the random battle royal, and a dark match. Let me check Charlie.
No, Chainsaw. Yeah.
Oh no, maybe it was Mark Henry. I was thinking, okay, Terry Funk versus Mark Henry. That was the weird one I was thinking about. They talked about Terry Funk and Mark Henry. Okay,
they did touch on that battle royal. That's that battle royal, like Undertaker and Kane, like just beat up all the tag teams.
Okay.
Or no, Kane and Mankind did it.
I was saying they might have crossed paths. If was Kane in the Royal Rumble in '98 or 97 or whatever?
97, him and Fake Diesel might have crossed paths.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
Somehow Terry Funk and Mark Henry seems weirder.
It's on YouTube. You can go watch it. Apparently, they said it was just the weirdest match because like Terry Funk's trying to wrestle him, and this is like '98 Mark Henry when he's still green. It's just a weird match. And like Terry Funk does when he started doing stupid moonsaults to the outside and banging his legs on the guardrails over and over again, which is really dumb. Like acai moonsaults. Like, what are you doing, Terry? Stop it.
So kicking it off with a nice hardcore match between those two, and then we're gonna move into we've seen Hulk and Vince, and now we're gonna get Hulk Hogan and Shane McMahon.
Oh God!
Oh my God!
You know what? I won't shit on it because Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 19 is a really fun match. It's a fun match. That's a fun street fight. So I won't knock it to it. That they had a really fun match. So I you know what? And if they do something similar to that, just with Shane doing bigger dives, like it'd be pretty decent.
Hold on, because you just gave me an idea. Since we just had a hardcore match, I'm going to move it down the card, actually.
Oh, okay. Street fight later in the card. Like match 7 or something.
Not. Yeah. It's going to be like match.
Because at WrestleMania 19, they weren't like the semi-main event. They were like the semi-main event. Because then the semi-main was Rockin' Hogan or Rockin' Stone Cold.
If you get the VHS or DVD, they're on the front cover.
They are.
Weird.
Yeah.
It's like it's not Brock and Angle.
20 years in the making.
Yeah, or Rock and Stone Cold.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
Rock and Stone Cold, it's not Angle. It's not.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead, following Terry Funk versus Kane,
Okay.
we don't book very many like 6-man tags. So I
Mhm.
wanted to
Ooh,
book
nice.
one. So we've got Steve Blackman in the APA taking on Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and X-Pac.
Now that sounds like something that could have happened in like 1998 or
I swear,
1999.
I swear Steve
I
Blackman
sure
and
shit saw that on Sunday Night Heat.
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
swear
Of
Steve
course.
Blackman and AKA
Yeah.
have definitely seen that before.
I'm pretty positive that match probably happened at some point. somewhere.
Hold
Yeah.
on, give me the exact 6 again. Let's see.
So it's Steve Blackman in the APA against Billy Gunn, Road Dogg,
Against
and
DX.
X-Pac.
Against DX sans Triple H.
Okay.
The New Age Outlaws and X-Pac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let him research that. You keep going with your card to see if
See if it
he
actually
comes up anything. Yeah.
Match number 3. This probably happened, but due to a debate we had recently, I just had to book this match. So match 3 will be Rikishi versus D'Lo Brown
Who's the better world champion?
in a number 1 contenders match. Why not?
Okay, yeah.
They definitely touched each other in the Rumble 2000 because he eliminated him.
Okay.
Yeah, just say no. You're good. I mean, except for the Rumble, and the closest we got is like a house show where they teamed with Grandmaster Sexy against the Rights to Censor. But other than that, yeah, no direct correlation.
No direct one-on-one match. Okay, yeah, all right. They'd have a good match. You give them some time. They'll have a good match. Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the 6-man.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
Sorry, I was talking about
I was the
Rikishi.
6-man. There's
I was saying Rikishi and D'Lo actually haven't had like a one-on-one match.
Yeah,
from what I can tell.
Rikishi eliminated D'Lo in the Rumble 2000. I think D'Lo's the first one eliminated, which
Yeah.
is the first one out, and then I think I can't remember them actually having a match beyond that, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Cool. I know this match hasn't happened, and this is also the match where I was like, oh shoot, I still have 4 people that I need to book. So I guess they're just going to be in one match together, and so it's going to be Danny Doring and Roadkill versus the team of Jeff Jarrett and China.
Jeff Jarrett and China.
Wow, that'd be a shitty match.
This is what we call the bathroom break match. This is hey, if you want to go to the concessions or go get some merch.
Two people who did not like each other at all. Yeah, I guess.
The woman that Jeff Jarrett held up the company for.
Yes.
And yeah, other than one random battle royal on Shotgun Saturday Night, that is the only times they touch is Royal Rumble 2000. Rikishi and D'Lo never in the same ring again.
Really?
Other than a TNA house show where they teamed together to defeat David Young and Elix Skipper.
All right.
Okay.
Nice. Remember when David Young was a thing for like a year? Yeah. I remember.
He had talent. He just didn't have a look or a promo.
Yeah, a character. He didn't have a character or anything. Yeah. Okay.
My
He
favorite
showed up a
bootleg,
couple months ago.
my favorite bootleg merchandise is at a like a flea market. Is a sticker sheet of the most random, like 94 Shawn Michaels, 2003 John Cena, and David Young. Like it's the most random fucking sticker sheet of all time. It's like, who? They Google wrestling? Like, what is this? The weird time frames, and then a couple TNA guys, including David Young for some reason.
He randomly showed up at an Impact recently, just as like, hey, I'm still here, I was still around. But it was just like,
That's funny. I didn't see that clip. That's funny.
All right, and so now we will get to the street fight between Hulk Hogan and Shane McMahon. We'll move it down a little further on the card, so it's not right after the hardcore match. So this is we'll insert it here because I think that the next 3 matches are all main event level matches. And we learned recently that they haven't been in the same ring until this year. I'm going to correct that, and we're going to have them meet in the year 2000. We're going to have Chris Jericho and Sting Matt be my match number 6, and then you know what, I drafted them together, and sometimes if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I am doing JPO, you can call me boring if you want. I'm going Edge and Christian versus the Dudleys, which apparently is the only first time match that I actually have on. Or the
I personally, if I was you, I would have done Edge and Christian versus Doring and Roadkill. That'd be a really fun match.
That'd be fun.
Or the Dudleys versus Roadkill and Danny Doring. That'd be fun too. They could have a hell of a match.
I'll take your word for it because I haven't actually watched
Okay.
much Danny Doring and Roadkill.
Because
so-
the thing is Doring and Roadkill were just coming up as the Dudleys were leaving, so they could have had a really good match. Actually, I don't think they ever did in ECW. Yeah.
So yeah, and then in the main event, it will be The Rock taking on Ric Flair. So
They did have a Raw match. I remember that. They had a match on Raw.
And then they
Yeah.
were in the same ring at WrestleMania 20.
WrestleMania 20. 20.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So.
that 2-on-3.
But yeah, I know leading up to that WrestleMania match, they had a match on Raw. I'm pretty damn certain. So yeah,
Dude, this is gonna be on pay-per-view.
Oh no, on pay-per-view. No, give them time. Yeah, I think it was the main event of that Raw. But yeah, that's
There are probably shenanigans involved.
I think there was Evolution shenanigans involved.
Yeah.
Most likely, yes.
A house show, Pez, in Fort Lauderdale was treated too with the Dudleys versus Doring and Roadkill, but never a televised straight up 2v2.
I see.
All right, hang on.
Okay, now this one, Jacob, I want to run down Richie's draft card. Otherwise, it's going to make any sense. So I'm going to run it down for him. Well, before he says it.
Go for
So okay, so just to see what he comes up with. All right, so we all drafted to get it set up. We all drafted for Richie because Richie was not here. He decided not to be here with us. So we drafted for him per JPO's rules. Well, it was JPO's draft, and he made the rules, so he said we draft for him. So that's what we did. So we drafted for him world champion David Arquette, Intercontinental Champion, the British Bulldog. Remember, this is all 2000, so you have to use the 2000 version of them, as we all did. So 2000 Denim Baby Boy, as we like to call him. World Champion, Vince Russo. See, lots of champions, so that's good. International Superstar, Tiger Ali Singh. We have Hardcore Legend, Crash Holly. We have Tag Team Champion, Judy Bagwell. Women's Champion, The Cat, with a K. World Champion, Sid Vicious. Intercontinental Champion, former Intercontinental Champion, Big T, aka Fat Ahmed Johnson from WCW.
Was that his official building?
Yes, that's how we got introduced by Michael Buffer.
And
as
his
Fat Ahmed. Fat Ahmed, yes. Fat Ahmed, yeah, Fat Ahmed Johnson. For anybody who doesn't know what Big T is, that's Ahmed Johnson when he showed up in WCW, 50 pounds heavier. Yes.
You got a job.
And then the tag team of the Mean Street Posse, but Rodney and Pete Gas. The two best ones.
The two best.
Yeah, two best. Tag team champions David Flair and Crowbar as a unit. One of the best tag team champions. We got $1 Million champion Mr. Jones, aka Vincent, aka Virgil. We have Just Joe, the rumor spreader of WWE, and Jacked Legend, Just Joe, as I like to call him, Jacked and Metal Legend. Big Boss Man, former WrestleMania main eventer. Former Cruiserweight champion Oklahoma, Ed Ferrara. Got Chili Willy, a hot up-and-comer from ECW. Above average, so he's above average, Mike Sanders. That's pretty good, right? Former European champion Naked Midian, with the fanny pack included. Women's champion Harvey Whippleman. And Hall of Famer Mae Young. So that's a hell of a. That's champions. Hall of Famers abound, Richie. Don't blow it. Don't blow it, Richie. Don't disappoint.
Yeah. All right. Stay tuned for my card because gonna make you talk. Yeah, gonna get you talking. This is
So we're gonna buy or sell each of these matches.
Heroes of Wrestling. Eat your heart out.
Yeah. Right.
All right. First, we're gonna open with the 2000s. We're gonna open with a bra and panties match. Mae Young versus Judy Bagwell. With your special guest referee, the women's champion, Harvita.
No buys.
I know. Like it.
You have the cat on your roster and you put Mae Young in the bronze.
You have a Hall of Fame women's wrestler and a tag team champion, and you put them in a gimmicky brawn panties match. Shame on you. That's a waste of talent. 2000. Shame on you, Richie. You're already not taking this seriously. I'm sure.
This is a bit better. We got a tag team.
I hope it gets better.
We got a tag team hardcore rules match. Mean Street Posse versus Flair and Crowbar. That'll be
That
well.
actually, I'll buy.
yeah,
I'd actually watch that. I'd actually watch
Good
that.
one. I mean, it's the only 2 tag teams you gave me. So.
Well, it'll be nothing but dumb plunder, but you know what? It can't be any worse than most of the 24/7 matches I saw in the year 2000. So, all right.
Yeah.
And WCW hardcore matches from that year. Just a bunch of dumb trash can shots and plunders. So, you know what?
Yeah.
It can't be the worst. All right.
Yeah. You got what I would determine to be kind of a squash match, but hopefully it'll be quick. You got Sid Vicious versus Chili Willy. Yeah.
What an up and comer! You're gonna squash him.
Yeah, you're going to squash a nice prospect, tough man champion, Chili Willy.
I don't know. Just I think
What is
somewhere.
this, Rey Mysterio in 2023?
Yeah.
Look, you gave me chicken shit. I'm trying to make chicken.
We gave you champion.
Hey, I'm sorry. Sid
Hall of
Vicious was a world champion, son.
I know.
Headlined 2 Manias.
2
I
Manias,
have
baby.
a for her, but
Well,
You guys
Also,
argued you'd be in the Hall of Fame on that Rankum episode, right? Exactly.
I did, and I feel
See?
correctly, although y'all fought me.
Yes.
but yeah, then Nico laughed.
I'd argue for that. Yes, he headlined WrestleManias and he's a former champion.
No,
Yes.
I'm not even
Yeah.
saying in my opinion. I'm saying statistically, he's a Hall of Fame worthy
Yes,
caliber.
he should be.
If you have Hillbilly Jim and Kogo Beware count,
Yeah,
then
And
fucking
and the junkyard dog and shit like that. Yes,
Yeah.
Sid Vicious 100%.
yeah.
Hey, also world
I'm
champion
all for him
WCW.
being in the Hall of Fame. I'm all for him.
Oh, yeah.
His accolades are vast, man.
Yeah.
A guy I put in the same sort of length as Lex Luger, I put in the Hall of Fame too. But yeah,
I mean, if Hulk Hogan can be a Hall of Famer,
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
The
anyone
guy
can
he
be a
fought
Hall of
should be a
Famer.
Hall of Famer. Come on.
There was a really good roast of Dave LaGreca from Busted Open. One of the roast jokes was Hulk Hogan was really worried when he heard one of the Dudleys was dating his daughter. He said, "Which one?" Oh, okay, get it? It's a thinker, but it's funny. It's funny. Come on.
Say that again.
Hulk Hogan.
Okay. Yeah.
When he heard because Bubba Ray Dudley had a storyline where he married Brooke Hogan.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Hogan was really worried when he heard his daughter was dating one of the Dudleys. He was hoping it wasn't.
He was hoping it wasn't Spike.
Yeah. To do the whole thing. All right.
Probably felt better on the roast.
Back to my amazing card. This one is actually, you know what? This one falls in line. I think it would be an interesting match because they're both kind of. Mike Sanders is a funny guy, and I think it could be a comedy match. Mike Sanders versus Naked Midian. I think that would be whatever. Be fine.
Well, I think the promos video leading up to it would be better than the actual match, but all right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, this will be a short and sweet squash match because at least one of these people can't work. Big T versus Tyler Ellison.
What's the only squash match on pay-per-view? What are you, the Great American Bash 2004? What the hell's wrong with you?
Look, I am putting together a 2000s WCW. Yes, sir.
You got like Mordecai squash matches on pay-per-view? What the hell's wrong with you? Yeah.
Hardcore, a multi-man hardcore match. You got Crash Holly versus Big Boss Man versus Jess Joe versus British Bulldog versus Mr. Jones.
That'd be a hell of a jacked main event.
And next one, this is stupid. Barbecue sauce on a pole match. Oklahoma versus the Cat.
I thought you were just going to do a barbecue sauce pit match, like a mud match with barbecue sauce.
Wait. And then your main event,
That's
Mm.
not
a
the
triple
main
cage
event.
match for the Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, no.
David Arquette, the champion, versus Vince Russo. Fuck you.
We called it. The
That's what
main
we
event
said.
was going to be David Arquette and Vince Russo.
Versus Russo.
I'm pretty sure
Two
one
world
of us
champions
had put it on the
collide.
cage.
How
What an
dare you
epic
make
match.
a mockery of this show, Richie?
Yeah, I mean, we should just boycott right now. That's terrible. That's just, just don't even take it seriously. You don't even put the barbecue in a mud pit. Like, what's wrong with you, brother? Yeah.
All right, okay. Look,
What a shitty show! How dare you? I don't want to watch that.
You'd watch that car
We
crash.
put so much.
Actually, you know what's funny? I
You're
probably
right.
would in my sort of Vince Russo fascination. I would probably watch that fucking show.
You'd
Just
watch
see how
that.
bad it was.
bro.
I would at
watch
least
it.
look up the main event.
I mean, I've watched New Blood Rising more than once, so I can't really say I wouldn't. So yeah.
But JPO, thoughts on Richie's card overall?
Mm. See, he doesn't even want a part of it.
I was changing rooms. Yeah, no, I mean, this is an episode of Thunder. I'd watch it.
Yeah, sure. That's a great episode of Thunder. Yeah. That's probably, you know what? Half that card has probably happened on an episode of Thunder. So, never say never. Yeah. Judy Bagwell had a match with Chris Canyon on Thunder. Anything's possible. So, yeah, anything's possible.
So I think for the next one of these, we should just get a wheel together of like 2001 to like 2015 or something like that, and spin it, and then like pick a year that way, because I do kind of like doing these yearly drafts. This was kind of fun. So yeah, good idea.
And maybe every one of us for like 2 or 3 picks gets to draft for each person on the thing or something. I don't know. That would be kind of interesting. Or everybody gets to draft one person for each person, so we each get like 3 wild card picks,
and you
have to use them. Yeah, and you can get anybody. Yeah, for who was active that year, anybody.
That could be interesting. That would be
interesting just to throw a wrench in the mix and see what you do with like 3 wild card picks that aren't yours.
Right.
And you can use them at any time. So during the draft. Wild card for Jacob. Blah, blah, blah. Your next pick. That sort of thing.
Your first overall pick is...
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'll say we can't be used to the first one, maybe like the 5th one or something like that. Yeah,
after round 5 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the back half or whatever, you draft whoever. So that'd be fun.
No, right. Yeah, I like that as like a little added twist. Because keeps things fresh. Because
just straight drafts would be boring. Let's liven it up a little bit.
Yeah. Speaking of livening it up.
Oh boy, did it ever!
Oh boy, and Pez takes notes.
I'm still waiting for like the great show that we watch.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we got an.
It's always interesting, but like, Attitude Era Raw didn't work out. Monday night
ECW.
Nitro. We get the one Nitro. It's not like a Russo Nitro, so it's not so bad. It's great, and it's not like great that it's we got like one that was like in the middle. We still got SmackDown, Heat, Velocity, and Impact still on there. So Impact could again be great or shitty. SmackDown could, depending on what year, could be amazing or shitty. Same with Heat and Velocity. Who knows? So we'll eventually get there.
There is a SmackDown where Triple H is in like 5 matches, so hopefully we get that one, because that would be
in any given SmackDown from like 2003 could be pretty good from Ruthless Aggression era, because there was a lot of great like Benoit, Mysterio, Brock, Kurt Angle. They had a hell of a roster. They were
about today.
they could have some good matches on any given Ruthless Aggression SmackDown if you pulled that. So I don't know. There's a chance, or you could get like 2008 SmackDown with Great Khali as champion or something. Like, that would be bad. So, yeah. Anyways, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about 2008 ECW on Syfy. So I will take things, Jacob. Thank you very much. Well, let's do our recaps as we do.
We are counting Khali's champ. I'm sorry. I thought that.
Yeah, right. If we're getting one of those,
spin that fucker again.
If you see him in the thumbnail as you scroll to it, JPO, and you're like, oh, nope, I'm not doing it.
I think that was the one time I legitimately boycotted. I went Khali's champ, call me when he's not. I legitimately stopped for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Blame Batista for being injured, because that's the only reason it was
Now, if it was
I don't give a shit.
I would have been okay with that.
No,
there had to be other people on the roster that you could have given a chance to.
Yeah,
somebody.
There were people like Kane.
Because Batista still did the match, right? Batista did the match.
Yeah,
but they didn't vacate it.
No, he vacated.
Well, who else was in that battle royal? Somebody look that up.
Yeah, okay, but no, that's not an excuse.
Pretty sure the final 3 were like Kane and Mark Henry and Khali.
Anybody,
so.
Yeah, somebody look that up and get the JPO or Jacob, whoever. Somebody look that up. See who else was in that fucking battle royal.
I'm getting there.
Anybody else you could put. Anyways, but as you guys look that up. We were talking about September 16, 2008, which we spun ECW on Syfy. This episode is coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. And you have the amazing team of Todd Grisham and Matt Stryker on commentary. Holy shit, this was a terrible commentary team that I did not remember.
I think I've told you this before. Todd Grisham hates wrestling. Todd Grisham, not a fan.
Oh my God, there was so much meandering on this thing. You had Matt Stryker saying nonsensical bullshit the entire show. Cringy shit. Trying to be philosophical. It was terrible. And Todd Grisham doesn't know anything about wrestling. He hates wrestling, and he doesn't know what to say in between moves. He just is just meander. He's so bad. The commentary on this, it's almost worth watching to see how terrible this commentary team is. It's really bad.
Yeah. Matt Striker is my least favorite color commentator nearly of all time. I don't get it. I think he just tries to he tries to be so intelligent to the point of like just being annoying and just his metaphors and stuff. There's one point where he's talking about like this is why people go to the ocean to cry because it's like it's perspective, like I'm like, what are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking? There were several times on the show where I was like, what the hell are you talking about? Shut up. No, I wrote at least 4 times in my notes, shut up, Matt Striker. Shut up.
Hey, and the guy has found a way to stay employed, man. He had
Oh my God,
run,
he's in MLW right now.
Yeah, he's in MLW now.
Holy shit.
He stays employed.
Anyways,
and he hit on my
apparently
friend Laura and wouldn't take the hint.
Yeah.
Apparently, Batista was in the match, and Great Khali eliminated both Batista and Kane to win.
So who was in it overall?
Other participants included Chavo Guerrero,
Better
Chris Masters,
would have been better.
Dave Taylor,
Better option.
Deuce and Domino,
Better option.
Eugene,
Better.
Finley. Give it to
Finley.
Finley. Why not?
Finley would be
2008
fine.
Finley? Yeah, absolutely. Or 2007 Finley? Absolutely. Funaki.
Better option.
He's still a better worker.
Jamie Noble. Yeah.
Better.
Jimmy Wang Yang.
Better.
World champion Jimmy Wang Yang. It just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, right.
Kenny Dykstra.
Right.
The Major brothers, Brett Major and
Better.
Brian Major.
Better.
Well, yeah, that's one of the,
Mark Henry.
Yeah.
Totally.
Matt Hardy.
Yeah.
Better.
Montel Vontavious Porter, better known as MVP.
That could have been a nice jump start for him.
Yeah.
And Shannon Moore.
So if you had to go star power, Kane or Mark Henry would be your 2 at that time, at 2008. But yeah, if you want to elevate, Finley or MVP. There you go.
I think MVP was big enough to where I would.
MVP was big enough at the time. They just never put the trigger on him. But anybody but Khali. Come on now.
Yeah, and I don't know if Batista was injured because later on in the show, Batista and Kane fought to a no contest.
Okay.
So
that could have been the injury.
Edge was the champion, and he vacated.
Okay.
Did your shit straight, Richie?
Yeah. Anyways, whatever. Anyways, back to this show. Speaking of Matt Hardy, he was in our opening match as ECW champion, Matt Hardy. If he won.
I was in the opening match. Like not in the main event.
I don't know, but so he's coming off of a speaking of championship scrambles. Yeah, he was in a championship scramble at Unforgiven to win the title against Chavo, Finley, The Miz, and Mark Henry. One of those scrambles where like the one on SmackDown, the SmackDown one where Brian Kendrick was champion for all of like a minute, but he was on the graphic officially a WWE champion.
For a little bit. Match, Brian Kendrick.
Right. Maybe hot take. I don't know. I like the concept of the match. I don't know why they only did it once. Yeah, I liked it.
They did it. The first time they did it was for the hardcore title,
but that got fucked up. Though. But that got screwed up though.
Right,
yeah, because somebody they missed their time cues and the wrong guy won.
Yeah, that was a problem. Alcoholic beat Crash. Crash was supposed to win.
Crash was supposed to win, but at the same time, it's like who cares? Just do it on Raw next. Have them have a match on Raw next night. Have changed titles. Who cares? It's a hardcore title. But yeah, this one, you don't see many of these scrambles where it's pinfalls. You become the champion by default or whatever, and you try to hang on to it. Matt won the thing with a few minutes left. Was able to hang on. They showed some highlights before this match of him winning that match, becoming champion. So we come out for this match against Mike Knox, the glorious Mike Knox. Was shaved head Mike Knox, right? Or did he have his long hair in this one? I can't remember.
He
still has hair. Okay.
Because he still has it 3 weeks later against.
So arguably maybe the best match on the show.
I liked it. Yeah, I
think it might have actually been the best match on the show. Matt Hardy's working his ass off here. Mike Knox not the greatest worker, but I think Matt put a match together here where it was big man, little man. Mike is Matt's trying to hit quick moves, bulldogs, whatnot, quick counters. Knox, of course, coming back with big boots, power slams, the typical kind of big man stuff. This was the first time I wrote Striker is annoying, mainly because the first time he did, he reminded me that Vince McMahon was ECW champion at one point, which annoyed me. And then the actual quote, which I wrote down, is he said, talking about who might be watching this match, he goes, "Some would speculate that the entire ECW locker room is fixated on this match." Fuck you, Matt Striker. What a weird way to say people might be paying attention to this. You could just say
Well,
that, but instead
he is
he
the
comes up
teacher,
with the,
okay?
the longest, most convoluted way to say that. Fuck
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
Matt
yeah,
Striker.
yeah,
That's the first time I wrote down one of his things he said because it was stupid.
He's-
So
That's how you know Vince wasn't in his ear.
So yeah, he was always annoying. So yeah, he annoyed me right off the bat. But anyways, so there's a couple of moves near the end. There's a spike DDT, but Knox gets his foot on the ropes. They go to the outside with a double clothesline, go to a commercial, and then Hardy overshoots a moonsault. There's a side effect for 2, but eventually. Twist of Fate puts away Mike Knox for the 3. And again, I thought this was a pretty good, maybe, what ended up being, and looking back on it, probably the best match on the show. Crowd was into it. They were hot behind Matt Hardy. And yeah, there was nothing really wrong with it. It was a decent sort of big man, little man TV match. I don't know. What you guys think of this one?
Yeah, it was a decent match with probably the most heat because Matt Hardy was quite over here.
Mhm.
I always joke when that's Hardy Boys when and this was when the crowd would go crazy when Jeff took off his shirt and it's like and then Matt would take off his shirt. Oh, I guess you can take off your shirt too, yay! But Matt. Yeah, like Matt was really over here. I like the Spike TV, the DDT spot because it looked like he was going for a twist of fate and he turned it into DDT. Like, okay. And then obviously the only other this thing was like the opposite. I think maybe Knox is meant to move out of the way of the moonsault. He overshot it and then he hit he's ended up hitting Knox anyway. So but beyond that, it was a decent match and they gave him a long time and it's probably the best match on the show. So and probably I can't remember like a lot of classic Mike Knox matches. So he made him look good here. So
yeah totally. JPO, any thoughts on this one?
No, I'm in the same boat. I remember thinking even back in the day, like Mike Knox has potential. I think this is one of those matches where you can definitely see it as well. Maybe not that next level, and maybe he kind of did cap it at a certain peak, but
like a mid card bid guy, he could be a good guy,
this was good. This was like a good reminder of that. I'm like, all right, like there's something here, man. There really is. And he's still going. I know he was in NWA up till pretty recently. So he still dabbles every once in a while. And and also too, I just remember being happy that ECW was kind of like the place for like kind of like what we were joking before with Kane and Mark Henry. It was like with Matt Hardy, putting those kind of really great mid card guys at the very top of the roster.
It's like him and Chavo as ECW champion, Christian as ECW champion. Like those mid card guys that could be a champion on this brand. Be the top guy. Yeah,
Tom Morrison.
Morrison, all those guys for sure. We'll talk about him in a minute.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I was surprised to see that it was given 2 segments because I seem to remember not a lot of matches on ECW getting 2 segments. They all felt like seemed like they were all like just one segment, like maybe 8-10 minutes, whatever. I know this one was given some time, and Matt Hardy made Mike Knox look good, and I think I'll agree. Looking back on it, probably best match on the show.
Yeah, totally. So we move on. A couple of backstage things. Tony Atlas and Mark Henry were watching the match and kind of commenting on it. Yeah, Tony Atlas, who I forgot was around this time.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you remember that? I remember Tony Atlas being paired with Abraham Washington later on, but I forgot Tony Atlas was even a manager of Mark Henry.
Yeah, right. So they just comment because Matt Hardy and Mark Henry are going to have a match in the next pay-per-view for the title. He's kind of the next number 1 contender. And also Matt, I think Mark Henry was trying to pin Matt as that scramble ended or something, or he was the champion at the time and lost it to Matt Hardy.
Quick turnaround between pay-per-views, by the way. I think so this one was just a week after Unforgiven, and then they're already setting up the next one, which is maybe in a couple a
couple of weeks or something. Yeah.
So and this was before the network, so you're asking people to fork
down some money. Yeah, right. Yeah. So and we also see Miz and Morrison exiting a cargo elevator. Okay. All right. So I guess you got to take a cargo elevator to get to the ring area, I guess.
I will say this too. I remember watching that clip and going, man, if you had asked 2008 me which one of these is a future world champion WrestleMania main eventer, I would not have guessed shitty hat t-shirt guy. I would have guessed jacked, beautiful Morrison.
Yeah, the guy that looks like a fucking star. Exactly.
Like that. I'm like, oh my god. I definitely predicted the Michaels Jannetty here wrong.
Yeah. So we get our second match, which is The Miz and his hat versus Evan Bourne. Evan Bourne, aka Matt Sydal, for anybody who doesn't know. Miz comes out with Morrison at his side. So Evan Bourne gets a surprise sort of valet of Ricky Ortiz. Anybody remember Ricky Ortiz?
I remember, but I had no recollection of them, Evan Bourne and Ricky Ortiz ever being like teamed or being a thing.
Right.
What?
So what I know Ricky Ortiz from is my good buddy John Davis, who you might know, JPO, who's a Florida staple, Dark City Fight Club, had an enhancement match with Ricky Ortiz on an episode of ECW on Syfy.
Sure.
And the match, which Ricky Ortiz wanted to go over in the back with John multiple times, even though it consisted of was John clubbering him a couple of times, body slamming him, and then Ricky Ortiz making his comeback and winning with a standing splash. Not a top rope splash. He used to do a standing splash for his finish. Just a running Ultimate Warrior standing splash. And even John was like, you don't come off the top rope or off the second rope or anything like that. Just standing. Because John Davis is a very large gentleman, if you don't know. And that's what Ricky Ortiz beats him with. So yes, there you go. But anyways, that's what I know Ricky Ortiz from, is John had a match with him. So,
well, and also kudos. He ends up marrying Layla. If anyone
right.
Layla,
yeah. I looked up when I looked up his Wikipedia. Yeah, he was a football player turned wrestler.
Yeah, short stint, one of those just kind of good looking, like DJ Gabriel kind of flashing the pans ECW guys. Mm-hmm. He did that weird oh no, what is it called? It's like underground wrestling, like you mean
like the Urban Wrestling Federation? Yeah,
Urban Wrestling Federation. Thank you.
Urban Wrestling Federation,
that's the only other thing of fame that I think.
They're probably like, "Hey, you have an afro. Come be in the Urban Wrestling Federation."
Which featured your favorite like pet peeve, where characters would die.
They would murder characters on that.
show, So just
have like drive-bys and shit.
So just like NXT. Okay.
When was there murder on NXT?
There's been murders on NXT. People have implied that they murdered somebody on NXT.
There was one where didn't they imply that when that guy that got fired from was it Tony?
The people are dead. Guy? Yeah. Done that on NXT.
Fishes.
Sure.
Yeah. I took that as them like bullshitting bravado. But I guess that they are kind of alluding they murdered him.
We murdered him. So, anyways, we get quick highlights from a match I'd rather be watching from the previous week of Evan Bourne and John Morrison, which looked awesome. And then we get a highlight package of that, and I go, "Oh shit! This match of the year candidate that I would rather be watching because that match looked great." But instead, no, we get Evan Bourne versus 2008 Miz. Not the worst thing ever, but again, I'd rather be watching Bourne and Morrison, which are definitely throwing it out there from a highlight reel. We get Bourne. He's bumping his ass off. He's doing his best for the Miz. He's throwing himself all over the place. Miz puts the heat on Bourne for a little bit. There are a few scuffles here and there between Ortiz and Morrison, but not a whole lot. Just kind of a few little brief little interactions here and there. A couple of decent spots. A nice standing moonsault that Evan Bourne used to do to the Miz. Miz does a springboard leg drop, which I thought was like, he never does that anymore.
I was going to mention that. I'm like, well, that's athletic for Miz standards. So I
guess in 2008 he was still trying to do something interesting and trying not to be boring. So again, not great. It doesn't go super long. Eventually, I didn't write down a ton of this. Eventually, there's a weird little leg scissor roll up that Evan Bourne does for the 3 count. He kind of wraps him up with his legs and spins him around and rolls him up, and he wins. That's that. So we're on the horn. Jacob, any thoughts on this one? I know it was pretty quick match. Not a whole lot to it, but
I mean, it was decent for what it was. A nice little TV match. I mean, it was 2008 Miz, so I wasn't a huge fan of him at the time. And looking back, I was like, you got better, but I understand why you were on ECW on Syfy and not Raw or SmackDown. Right. But I think he did improve. I mean, obviously he improved.
I mean, let's not forget too. To be fair, this is kind of what the show's supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's for your greener Ricky Ortiz's or guys who aren't in the main event. Matt Hardy being in the main event, that's kind of what it is.
That's true.
Yeah, it's it's supposed to be like an NXT light. That's why NXT.
Yeah. Or a guy we'll talk about in a minute that was still kind of making his debut.
Yeah.
that I'll get to in a minute. Anything, Richie or JPO? Anything else? Yeah.
No, I do remember going back to with Evan Bourne. He does debut as Matt Sydal, and then the next week they're like, "It's Evan Bourne now."
Evan
Weird.
Airborne.
Kind of like the Viking Raiders. It's like, do you not fucking like think of these names beforehand? Like,
Mm.
why did you debut him and then go, "Oh wait, we're gonna call him something completely
No,
different"?
we're going to gaslight you. He was never Matt Sydal. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, and I suppose it's because of Matt Hardy. It was just because Vince never likes the two name thing. You know, we got him, Matt. But it's like, all right, cool. But you knew that the first week too. So this again shows you how like the little foresight they put in sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, no. Jacobs and everyone said it perfectly. It's a fun one seg TV match. You know what I mean? It is what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Richie, anything else before we move on?
Great afro by Ortiz.
I
Great afro.
thought it was interesting that, like, I mean, I guess it showed them how much like what they had for ECW. Like, with ECW only had one title. Like, you know, like they didn't have ECW
Yeah.
tag title.
Never debuted a tag. Never debuted a mid. Yeah, it's just
Mid
that's all they had.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when you got a bunch of mid-card guys fighting for the heavyweight title anyways, you don't really need a mid-card title. You know what I mean?
I mean, but it would have
know.
made sense because you're trying to sell it as a third brand. You know what I mean? And like, there's enough mid-carders that never touched that world title. So,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, we never got champion Yoshitatsu, so, you know, it's what it is. I kept waiting for him to come out on the show, and it didn't happen. Yeah. I was hoping. I was also hoping when we did that. This was going to be one of the random Colin Delaney gets the shit kicked out of him by a big guy matches. We didn't get that because that's a fun playlist that I definitely don't go back and watch every now and then. Straight through.
Colin Delaney still working and
still working
as a jobber on AEW and Impact sometimes.
So far, everybody we've talked about that's still a wrestler, other than like Ricky Ortiz, still active. Mike Knox, Matt Hardy, The Miz, John Morrison, Evan Bourne, Matt Sydal, still active.
And most of the people you mentioned are
The next match is still active.
Next match is still active. Yeah. So, everybody other than I guess Mark Henry, who's not technically active but still on television. But yeah, so everybody pretty much still active. So, so far, yeah, we'll keep that up. We have a Raw rebound. Again, speaking of things that I'd rather be watching than the show, we had clips of a CM Punk versus Chris Jericho world title cage match, which I'd rather be watching. Jericho, by the way, being backed up by Lance Cade, which I forgot ever was a thing.
I
Yeah, that was a hot thing.
For a second, I was like, "Who the fuck is it? Is that fucking Cade from Cade and Murdoch?"
Yeah, that does not last
long. Like, what? Yeah, I was like, "Is that Cade and Murdoch? Cade? Like, that's weird." And then we see a little bit of Mike Adamle as Raw General Manager, the glory days of Mike Adamle, making another match that I'd rather be watching, the HBK versus Y2J ladder match that I'd rather be watching.
Oh my god,
that's a great match.
So he didn't make the Jeff Harvey match.
That's
not Jeff Harvey.
The pay-per-view.
I'd rather be watching that right now as well more than anything else on the show. Because I was like, don't do that on these retro shows. Yeah, retroactively, don't make me watch matches. Want to watch matches that already happened that I'd rather be watching.
Yeah, I forgot how good that No Mercy card looked.
Yeah.
Like that, I might go back and watch that sometime.
No, that's a great match. So maybe we'll talk about it someday. But yes, we get in his second match in WWE or ECW, whatever you want to call it, the All-American Jack Swagger, and again his second match on television versus Chase Stevens of all people. The Naturals. Yes, TNA. Speaking of TNA's Chase Stevens of the Naturals.
NWA Tag Champ.
In his very short run here that he had here on ECW, basically getting squashed by the newcomer, the All-American future world champion, Jack Swagger. So, yes, but being used basically as an enhancement talent. Chase have done a couple other matches. I looked it up on ECW here and there, but basically still an enhancement guy for most of his run. So they're really playing up the wrestling aspect of Swagger in this one. He's hitting a lot of double leg takedowns, some kind of gut wrench suplexes, showing off his strengths, not a knee lift, belly to belly suplexes. Yeah, just kind of big time suplexes and Greco-Roman moves, things like that. It's pretty much one-sided. I didn't write down anything that Chase Stevens did. I think he might have got one or two little quick moves in there, but it was basically a squash match through and through. And Jack Swagger wins with a Blue Thunder Bomb.
They call it the red, white, and blue Thunder.
The red, white, and blue Thunder Bomb. Yes. So and the second match just kind of another hands. But yeah, Chase Stevens, the most random thing, the Naturals. Yeah, which I forgot he was there for a little while.
This is also where Matt Striker was annoying me because he kept going Jack Swagger.
Jack Swagger. Swagger.
But, one thing did you notice? Jack Swagger came out to Jamie Noble's old theme song.
This is before he got his first theme, the da 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 da. You know, down. You know,
I like that song.
No, that first song was all right. But yeah, this is pre that his better theme. Yeah, that he would get, where he'd start doing the little chest bumping thing or whatever. You know, as he came out. Yeah, pre all that. Still very very green here with Swagger. But yeah, Richie, we'll go on the horn. What did you think of this one overall?
Yeah,
not much to say, but it's just.
Not much to say. I forgot that like Chase Stevens did a run here. When I saw him, like. What the fuck? I'm like, that's the natural guy. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. I like them in early TNA. I wonder, yeah. It's like, you could almost do it like, who does round up for them now? But yeah. I remember them being like managed by Shane Douglas at one point. But yeah, it's not much to say. It's a squash for Jack Swagger. They're obviously really high on him. I think he was like he was a Jim Ross hire, and they were really, hyping him up. He ended up winning the belt quite quickly, from what I remember. So, but yeah, it's a typical squash match.
By 2010, he was champion, right?
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah, like not too long after this. Yeah,
after WrestleMania 26.
Yeah.
It's weird not seeing him win with like his gut wrench powerbomb that he does, or the. The Vader bomb, the Swagger bomb, but it was new. He was just sort of finding his feet. So the Blue Thunder bomb was alright. But I always these days I always associate the Blue Thunder bomb with someone like Sami Zayn or something like that. But or maybe even like Takeshita these days. But it was alright. It did what it was. They sort out to do. It put him over and put him over strong. Just wish we had didn't have Matt Striker on commentary, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, JPO.
I just double checked. Yeah, this is only one of 3 Stevens WWE matches. In fact, what's weird is on a SmackDown, both Naturals were in a handicap match along with Luke Hawx losing to the Big Show. So they actually had both Naturals. Technically, he did have a match on WWE TV, and it's just. And 1 week later, I guess Mike Knox squashes him. And that's it. never signed. So that's all. That's just him. He just happened to have a couple matches in a row on television to get looked at, but it never got signed. I forgot about his gear. I definitely never remember Swagger wearing this kind of gear. I'm used to the singlet, but I guess they tried out at first. So it was fine. Kind of a creepy smile. I've never been that enamored by Swagger. Even like during watching this like originally back in the day, I was like, all right, let's see if he has anything else. And sure enough, he didn't.
I think my favorite run has, at least because of the promos and whatnot, was the We the People, with Dutch Mantel.
We the People, and I like him and Cesaro as a tag team. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
The only time I
peak Swagger. Yeah.
Legitimately enjoyed a Swagger.
I think they got rid of it too quickly, but I think he was getting over with the hey, I like this hat thing in AEW. I like that, like probably ironically.
Yeah, but that's got such a ceiling though. Like it's over.
Yeah, no, but they already got rid of it, and he's just a dude now. He barely wrestles.
Yeah,
I think.
I want his AEW contract because I wonder what he gets paid for like
doing nothing.
Like the dude doesn't do a lot.
I think at first he was barely wrestling because he also had a contract with Bellator. He was fighting, but I think he
what's the excuse now?
So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Jacob, any thoughts on this one? Or
I blinked, so I missed it.
Yeah, right. It was all of about 2 minutes. I mean, there wasn't much. Yeah, it was just a showcase for Swagger. So yeah, I mean, but hey, having a squash match in the middle of an ECW, it's fine. It's
not like having 2 on pay-per-view, right, Richie?
Yeah, right.
Real quick, let me just give you Hager's recent AEW run. Battle Royal in October, 8-man tag in October. Then you got to go to a Battle Royal in September. Hey, guess what? Before that, a Battle Royal in July. And guess what? Before that, a singles match in June. And that's how long it takes to find a singles match.
I know there was There was a running joke, I think Brian Alvarez was even talking about, like, oh, let's just do a battle royal every fucking month. Like just
They
battle
do love
royals for
battle
everybody.
royals, and
They love their battle
sometimes you'll
royals.
see in those battle royals too. That's where you'll see. Oh, look, that's where Hager is.
Hey, somebody finally got.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot that was still high. I forgot that one played.
Yeah, like, I feel like Sean Spears is in one of them recently. I was like, fucking Sean Spears. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He's still around.
Oh shit.
All right, so we move on to not much in between stuff here through the things, but pretty much just straight matches. With I'm not complaining. We do get 4 matches on this show, and some of them get some time, but we get to what it's a boring match. It just is. I thought this match was boring. It's Mark Henry with Tony Atlas versus Finley. With Hornswoggle running around. This was the Finley Hornswoggle run where Hornswoggle was backing him up. And he was no longer a mean guy. I like to fight Finley. He's just, Irishman. Babyface Irishman, Finley. Coming out to the goofy Hornswoggle music that I always thought was goofy. The little tweedly dee Irish music, which I thought was weird.
Bit kind of, bit on the nose. But and also like not the evil leprechaun kind of Hornswoggle,
with smeared stuff on his face, like smeared dirt on his face,
or whatever.
Right.
But not that. No, just like I think at this point, I think that they're calling Hornswoggle like Finley's son or whatever. It's just after that dumb storyline of the.
You mean he's not Vince McMahon's son?
No. They said it was Vince's son. They said it was Vince's son. Then like later on, they go, no, it's Finley's. They found some convoluted way to say it's Finley's.
Yeah, right.
Later on, but they did refer to him as his son at one point. But this match was slow plodding and boring. The crowd, they lost the crowd. Like they liked Finley, but I think he was kind of still new to being babyface as well, and it wasn't like I don't know. I don't think that. I just don't think that. Maybe their styles meshed as well. It was just kind of a boring main event, and it's just weird. Like there was no real build up to. I thought maybe.
To me, they probably should have just switched the order. I think looking back on it, Matt Hardy and Mike Knox probably should have been the main event with your champion. Maybe have Mark Henry interfere or something like that, or come out after the match. But whatever. Anyways, getting back to this match, Tony Atlas rocking the always popular sleeveless dress shirt with the tie to show off his arms. So that was always a weird look. So he's taking a few cheap shots here and there with Finley. Hornswoggle's kind of ducking out of the ring. He didn't do as much as I thought he would in this match as he usually does. He's kind of just there for most of it. He hands Finley the shillelagh at one point, behind he takes a shot at Mark Henry. I'll get to that in a second. But, it's basically just a feeling out thing. They go to a commercial after Finley gets kind of tossed into the announcer's table. We come back to the always exciting Mark Henry nerve hold. That's always a good way to come back and get your audience right back into the match with a nerve hold. We then go from a nerve hold to a bear hug. That takes forever. So Henry really laying on the exciting moves here against Finley, keeping the audience entertained. I wrote down here, Matt Stryker asking rhetorical questions to Todd Grisham and expecting answers was always weird during this main event.
Yeah,
he continues to ask just the most random rhetorical questions that don't require answers, and then gets mad when Tom Grisham doesn't answer him. They have bad chemistry. Bad chemistry, these two. Not good. Yeah.
But this was also the match where he said something like, that's why people go to the ocean to cry, because it's not the tears don't seem big in context or something. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you talking? I wrote that multiple times. We're like, what the hell are you talking about, Stryker? So it's very bad that Todd Grisham's trying to figure out things to say during this boring match. He's got nothing to talk about during all the heat and the rest holds. Like I said, at one point Atlas is with the ref. Hornswoggle was able to get the shillelagh to Mark Henry. He hits him in the arm or the shoulder. He works over the arm and the shoulder for a minute, and then Henry just picks him up for the world's strongest slam and pins him.
Immediately on the shoulder again.
And immediately pins him. And it's just, it kind of comes out of nowhere. It's weird. Like, Finley's going to start his own heat and then just doesn't go anywhere.
Is it essentially just as simple as, oh, fuck, take it home?
We run out of time. So he picks him up and slams him, and they take it home. A weird finish after a boring match that kind of comes out of nowhere. And, no Matt Hardy appearance afterwards, just kind of they walk up, him and Tony Atlas walk up the ramp, and that's the show. So.
Well, as I was doing a replay, I don't know if it was on your, but as I was doing a replay, it was, my thing was going to the next episode. I'm like, like it was wrapping up. Like,
Yeah.
oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, no, they like to go to those next episodes real quick, but we'll go around the horn. Jacob, this main event here, anything?
Yeah, it is what it is. Not the most exciting stuff. And I feel like Mark Henry would eventually come into his own. With the Hall of Pain stuff. But yeah, this wasn't it. Kind of like you said, kind of a boring main event. I understand the push for Mark Henry in ECW, like him being the guy because he does, you want that monster heel champion every once in a while, somebody that the babyface can knock down. But you also want them to put on good matches, and this one wasn't it.
I feel like old school Finlay from like '99 or something could have had a really fun mean guy brawl with Mark Henry.
Yeah.
But like not this character, like if he was like heel, old school, Finlay could like have a fun beat the shit out of you match with like Mark Henry, with mean Mark Henry. But like, yeah, this character, he's just babyface in peril. Finlay just doesn't really work for me. So yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But anyways, JPO, any thoughts on this main event here? JPO.
Yeah. Sorry, I did exactly what I did during the main event.
He fell asleep during the main event, which I totally understand. Yeah, definitely.
And I was trying to actually watch the main event just now too for it. And
they started putting you to sleep. I get it. I get it.
No, man. Unfortunately, yeah. This is just these two guys. Well, maybe not necessarily Finlay, because I feel like Finlay could have a good match with a lot of people. But like Henry, I think you do need a certain kind of like a different kind of opponent to make him work more than just big man, bro. Little punches and stuff like that style. It does get kind of boring here, but at least they did the nice thing, and they said they give us the good stuff at the top. So if you wanted to leave, you can leave.
Yeah.
So like, this doesn't really cut it. You know what I mean? Like again, if this was a SmackDown main event, I'd be like really upset.
Yeah, totally. Richie, anything?
Yeah, doesn't do much for me. It's pretty boring. I think towards like the end of the ECW run, where you got maybe like the people like, I mean, not to say Finley's not a great worker, and Mark Henry I like Mark Henry, but he can be good with the right opponent. But it's like I think, but towards the end you got the matches improved in the main event because like people like Christian and Shelton Benjamin. I think William Regal moved over there, and so but in this period it was like, and I understand it, but it was more like your Mark Henry and your Kane, and I think the Great Khali shows up there at some point too. So so I mean, it's like like I say, I probably would have flipped them. Like it wouldn't be the most exciting opener, but like if you had to do this match, just do it the opener, and then have the main event be Matt Hardy and Mike Knox. That'd be fine. But yeah, as a main event, it's kind of nothing. And then if I was a crowd, I think because they take this before SmackDown. Right?
No, they always did, because I remember seeing an ECW before a SmackDown they did in Jacksonville one time where like the Sandman squashed somebody. Matt Hardy, I think, was in the main event against someone. I don't remember. But yeah, they would tape it before SmackDown. Yeah, CM Punk was on the show. That was when he was still in ECW, his ECW run. I think it might have been CM Punk and Matt Hardy even in one of the matches. But they used to tape it before then. Yeah.
But yeah, like this match would be like, I mean, not that I wouldn't be jumping out of my seat and also be like, oh well, I was going to conserve my energy for SmackDown anyway, and it's going to be easy because I'm not excited for the match anyway. So
yeah. So yeah, overall, not like a horrible episode of like weekly television, in ECW on Syfy. A couple of decent things, some not so great things. At least a lot of matches. You did get a lot of wrestling, so I'll give them that. Not a lot of BS or really anything overly stupid. Just a decent weekly television show with horrible commentary. So if you're interested in listening to the worst announced team I've heard in a while that I forgot existed of Todd Grisham and Matt Stryker, feel free to check this one out.
I look forward to when we, if we get to the point where, remember when Tiffany was GM? Remember Tiffany?
It was very soon after this because they've been replaying. She shows up in like the episode after, and this one from Spokane, Washington. Look at that.
Because I just like the Brian Biddy recaps, but they would always make fun of like the cadence and how she talked. It was funny, just like so that, and she was an actress. She's an actress to Taryn Terrell.
Finlay is coming out in the dumbest leprechaun hat. Oh my goodness, what have they done to him?
Yeah, Leprechaun hat Finley is not the best Finley. So yeah, not the greatest. Yeah, I prefer beat the shit out of you with a salaciously, mean guy. I like to fight Finley. But anyways, yeah, that was ECW on Syfy from 2000. Yeah, again, this wheel, I'm enjoying it. I want us to continue the wheel because I'm having fun with these time periods and figure out who was on when somebody shows up. Holy shit, I forgot about this guy. I forgot about this guy. So I'm enjoying this. We haven't had that banger. We haven't had that banger of a show yet. Where we're just like, yeah, that was a great pull. We haven't gotten that yet. So I'm waiting for that. Maybe SmackDown or Heat Velocity or Impact, as we still have on the wheel at some point. But looking forward to next week, Jacob. What do we got going on?
Yeah, next week I don't know if we haven't settled down on a year yet.
I think we kind of did pre-show. I think we kind of did.
Probably 96.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were gonna do it this week, but because of scheduling and just life, we had to push it back. But next week we will be covering the 1996 edition of Halloween Havoc in honor of Halloween.
And we would have done it this week, yes, had we not skipped it last week. So it would make a little more sense. But it'll only be 2 days after Halloween, so we're not too much.
I'll still have Halloween candy I'm munching on.
Yes.
So,
I'll get whatever's discounted the next day and bring that on the show with me and pass it out to everybody. Yes, whatever gets marked down to half price, I'll be enjoying that night. But yeah, 90. We decided either 96 or 97. We know a little bit about 97. We've all seen, Ray and Eddie and a few other things from 97. So we decided to go with one that's a little more unknown to all of us. But supposedly it's still a good show. Like, we don't want to do a bad show. We want to do a good show for once. So we're gonna do 1996 Halloween Havoc.
We'll get to it when we watch it, but I think Halloween Havoc's got one of the best sets in wrestling. With
the blow up things and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I always thought the Halloween Havoc set looks kind of cool.
The graveyards and the pumpkins and all that. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's fun. I like that.
And in addition to that, we will also be doing our Crown Jewel predictions as we kind of a couple of us have alluded to how we feel about Logan Paul and Rey Mysterio, but we'll get into the other matches next week as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we got on the docket for next week. JPO, before you fall asleep and
hey, what are you talking about? He's fully awake. I see JPO's. No. Listen, that's not his fault. Like I said, he was putting on the replay of that Mark Henry Finley match, and it won't put anybody to sleep. That match was boring.
It's still on.
Yeah, it's still on. So he just can't stay awake during
It's
that.
Weird how you watch that every week, every show you're on.
It's fascinating.
But between now and then, Richie, what do you got going on?
I've been out of the loop for a while just because of holiday and new puppy and everything. But tournament fights, tier ranker, you can find me there. Trivia when life doesn't get in the way, and all that jazz. Here next week. I'll be on Rankum. I think that's fine. Talking about Martin Scorsese. Read up to that.
Following up Rob Schneider.
Quality, man. That Schneider. He'd be great in a Scorsese movie. He could play the funny best friend, right?
Yeah. Do I make you laugh? My clown? Am I care to you?
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I believe at some point we're just going to work out scheduling. At some point, I might be facing JPO in CWT because Chris has us up. So you might see us there at some point. And also got to hit at some point we're going to schedule it too. In JPO, we're talking about best comedy sequels. Maybe you
did you do your list yet? Did you?
Anyway,
JPO, what do you got going?
Hey, I'm still pushing for that tournament fight. I've made that list like 6 months ago. I got it ready to go. We need to do that tournament fight too. Anyways.
Yeah, my list is ready because I'm a prepared man. This is probably the last time you'll see me from this venue. Moving to another state. Gonna do some shenanigans over there. Then the Pierce Pierce Wrestling will be back in full swing very soon. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Pez.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of stuff that's like pre-taped, so I won't talk about it yet. I just pre-taped another Battleground match, and I've got some other stuff in the can, a couple of trivia matches that aren't out yet. I taped my Full Metal trivia debut So yeah, that'll be coming out pretty soon. And just everything else on the Movie Hero Network that I co-host, and whatnot. So that's where you can find me. I'll be talking about Scorsese as well, but with Aaron Knoll over on Battleground Casual doing our top 11 Scorseses. So that's why I'm not doing Rank 'em, because I'm gonna be talking Scorsese somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Mhm.
I
I'll
will not
make
be.
one include Boxcar Bertha for you.
Boxcar Bertha. I've seen everything except Boxcar Bertha, but I've seen pieces of it, and I'm like, no, it's not going to make my list. And New York is definitely not going to make my list. Things like I've seen everything past Mean Street. I've seen, so it's fine. I'm ready to roll. I've been filling in much like I did with Spielberg. I filled in a lot of my Scorsese gaps over the last year or so I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah, you will not catch me talking about Martin Scorsese, but you can catch me on Saturday talking about Chucky, and not to spoil anything, but maybe.
I think overall the franchise is
we'll
we'll talk about it. It has its ups and downs, but I think overall it's a pretty fun franchise. Yeah, anyways, we'll talk about it. We might be doing right afterwards our selection show for the Mystery Wheel tournament thing or whatever. So after I talked to Jordan about that. So if you want to hang out, Jacob, you're welcome to do so. Like you did last time.
But yeah, other than that, not much going on in my world. So until then, like we'll just meet. Let's all agree to meet back up here next week, same time. JPO, it won't be the same time for you. It'll actually be a couple hours later for you. But if you're still wanting to, you're invited, obviously. So
it won't be that late for him. It'll be 9 o'clock. That's not that bad.
No, just a couple hours later than it is now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much he actually falls asleep during that episode. See if he's adjusted to.
Hey, I see him texting me at like 4 a.m, so he's up sometimes.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think
he
I feel like JPO is one of those who doesn't have like a set sleep schedule.
You don't have a sleep schedule. You sleep, you're up. You sleep, you're up.
You would assume after this ends, I'm going to bed, but no, my night's just beginning.
Exactly. I wake up after taking my naps for like 4 hours and going into work to like text he sent me an hour previously or something.
Right.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
But
I haven't even begun packing. I really should start.
Oh, you really should do that. You're moving your entire livelihood to another stage. You should probably start putting stuff in boxes.
No, I sadly got man. I forgot what your face is, and you're not watching this. But I gave so much free wrestling swag away today. Broke my heart.
Oh,
I should have plotted and started selling more of it like a month or two ago. But I know it was gonna be. I thought I had to November, December. But yeah, man, I give away so much free shit. So whatever your face was, fucking enjoy it.
When do you leave?
Oh, he says thank you.
Yeah, when do you actually?
Morning.
So you got like a day to pack. All right, cool.
I'm not totally unpacked, but I got a lot I need to. Tomorrow's the day. I said that. The last week you're gonna focus. The last 3 days you're gonna focus. The last day you're gonna focus. All right.
So we're gonna end it here.
But Five Nights at Freddy's just dropped on Peacock, so
I told Henry I would wait, so I'm gonna wait.
Right.
I'm gonna be a good roommate. We're gonna watch it together.
Is Freelace on VOD already, or just in theaters, or Freelance? Yeah, right. Exactly. The new John Cena movie needs to be watched. I mean,
I heard Christian Slater's in it. I gotta watch it.
So we're gonna end things here, so JPO can start packing
for sure. For real this time. Oh, okay.
Got a full day tomorrow.
It's 12:01 here. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow somewhere.
It's been tomorrow.
Yeah, my clock says 9 o'clock, baby.
All right.
So for JPO, for Richie, for Austin, I'm Jacob. We are the Lonely Marks, and we will see you next week.